Randy, the difficulty that he and his party have, and Bawumia clearly has, is that he cannot be believed. He said all these things the last time round. He was put in charge of the economy. He has completely destroyed it. He has thrown millions of Ghanaians into penury. And you've seen that Ghana Statistical Service report that said that over a quarter of our population in the year that, or in the period that they did that, survey, have gone a day without food. And there's no greater indictment on the government. There's no greater evidence of failure of appalling proportions than to have a situation where a quarter of our population go a day without food. In other words, there was not one meal on the table that day for them. So, for me, this sums up the absolute disaster that Bawumia and his colleagues in the NPP have been. I don't see how he can convince anybody beyond rabid NPP circles to accept anything he says now. And he was the one who waxed lyrical about his economic prowess. Today, he is taking a cowardly flight from economic management and economic discussions. He is simply unable to even take responsibility for the distraction. And right there, he is on tape, video, and several other media, touting the credentials of his team, that is the economic management team. In fact, in one of the videos, which was taken outside this country when he visited the United States, I believe, he claimed that they had a first-class economic management team. And their handiwork is what we are seeing, where up to 2 million Ghanaian youth are unemployed. 2 million. Close to 30% of Ghanaian youth are unemployed. 8.5 million Ghanaians have gone a day without food. Inflation went to 54%, the highest in decades, under Bawumia's nose. And today the exchange rate is 16 cedis to $1. 16 cedis to $1. He took it from 4 cedis and took it to 16 cedis to $1. Our debt, according to the finance minister who presented the mid-year budget only a few weeks ago, now stands at 743 billion Ghana cedis as of the end of June. And this was taken from 120 billion Ghana cedis at the time that Bawumia was waxing lyrical about how terrible that was. If 120 billion Ghana cedis was unacceptable, why should the Ghanaian people accept 743 billion? Why should they even? You see, sometimes I wonder why he is bothering. After such a colossal failure in government, how can he convince anybody that he means anything he says and that he can be trusted to deliver on anything? Because he has failed on all the important metrics. Today, where are interest rates? Yesterday, I saw a post that he made. He claimed that his government has laid the foundation for businesses to take off. Randy, how is the business community going to survive in a situation where they are paying close to 40% in interest rates? When exchange rates are 16 cedis to $1, 20 cedis to the British pound, almost 17 cedis to the euro. When inflation gallops in the manner that it is doing, when fuel prices go up every now and then. Today, we are buying fuel for a price at a liter that is bigger than what a whole gallon costs in 2016 when Bawumia was waxing lyrical and promising to fix the economy. So having failed to live up to that hype, that billing, he is going into this election as the weakest ever candidate the NPP has presented, without question. And right, it is not for any reason beyond the fact that the Ghanaian people are able to tell that he misled them in 2016. In government, he has half them puffed, failed woefully to deliver the goods, and has gone around to put together uninspiring claims and passing them off as promises that he wants to put across for this electioneering period. So I don't see how he's going to navigate what is clearly a very difficult electoral terrain. And Randy, you can sense the desperation, the knowledge in the NPP camp that they are losing this election. So you've had Bryan Acheampong, repeat.
We'll get there.
No, Randy, I'm coming. You know, it's an interesting point. It's linked closely with the performance, because for an incumbent that believes it has done well, Randy, their rhetoric will show. Even their theme, it is possible. Of course, whilst you may argue that it is meant to connote hope, for the sort of arrogance and pomposity that the NPP is known for, there's no way they would have chosen this team if they were confident they were going to win this election. This team shows that they know that they have not performed, and the people of Ghana will take them to task. So you've had Bryan Acheampong mount platforms and make incendiary commentary, basically attempt to rally his base with violent rhetoric. And Randy, you cannot put Bryan Acheampong in the ranks of the lunatic fringe on the NPP. It is carefully orchestrated, and he has become the face of what I term the institutional insanity in the NPP, because they are now having to resort to desperate measures, including violence and threats of death and what have you, in order to intimidate the electorate into voting for them. And they put it into practice in Ayo West Woman, where Bryan Acheampong and other operatives in the security apparatus launched deadly violence on innocent persons who were just participating in the electoral process. Then they scaled it up, Randy, in 2020, when they gunned down 8 people, including teenagers, people young enough to be Akufo-Addo's grandchildren. So they have shown their capacity to use killings, bloody murder, to retain power. And if you are a candidate or you are a government that has performed well, you are a party that has performed well in government, you don't resort to these measures. You will go into the election confident, but they are not confident by any stretch of the imagination. And they brought this upon themselves because of the appalling governance that they have delivered. So they will go through the motions in the Western region. They will launch a manifesto. But they didn't even check their previous manifestos. You recall my brother Ablakwa did an analysis of their manifesto in 2020. They scored just a little over, 21% or so. They were abysmal. They promised to clean up the Kole Lagoon and put fish in it. So the disaster that they have been. And look at them on the campaign trail. Look at Bawumia's disposition. At a time when we have such unprecedented economic difficulties, look at his disposition. He has been told by his experts or his consultants to appear like an ordinary Ghanaian. So he goes to stand on stages and engages in comical offbeat dancing, as if that is what we require this time. Andy. You have a whole candidate attempting to look more youthful than his age, you know. And Randy, you see it. His consultants have told him that he must look like the ordinary Ghanaian. So when he goes to a place, he must attempt to dance. And at a time when Ghanaians are suffering, they are perishing, wallowing in hunger and poverty and squalor and unprecedented difficulty, he believes that the most important thing in this election is to engage in comical offbeat dancing. You know, you could be pardoned if you were not in Ghana and you were not familiar with the ecosystem. You think that is a clown performing on the stage. But this is the vice president of Ghana. Somebody who wants to be president at a time of unprecedented difficulty.
Randy.
You know?
I'll give you the opportunity.
So I don't know how they intend to navigate this electoral water. Look, Randy, even if nobody was contesting Bawumia and he was alone on the ticket, I'm pretty sure he will lose. Just like recently we had an incident in KNUST where somebody contested alone. She went into an election uncontested, and yet she failed to secure the mandate because people voted no against him. If Bawumia alone contested this election, he would still lose. Because you see, every election is a referendum on the incumbent's performance. That is what it is. If the government has done well, the opposition does not have a snowball's chance in hell to survive the election. But what you have here is unmitigated disaster. And that is why yesterday President Mahama led the youth of the NDC to put forward concrete proposals on how to salvage what is left of this country. Because at this moment, what the NPP has done to this country is unprecedented. It has no government has systematically raped the country in the manner that they've done.
All right.
And I'm sure as we get into the debate, more what will emerge.
Okay.